Hello, I'm Executive Chef Joseph Schutzer. Welcome to our kitchen. Today I'd like to share with you my recipe and technique for stuffing a pork tenderloin. There are an endless amount of possibilities when it comes to stuffing pork loins or tenderloins. You can do things that are earthy like mushrooms, leeks. You could use a sweeter version where you use dried fruits or apples, pears, fig. Yeah, whatever you like. Pork is a pretty universal piece of meat and pairs well with just about anything. Join me now as I show you how I prepare my stuffed pork tenderloin using leeks, ramps, and fig and apricot. Well, the first thing I like to do is make my stuffing. And I begin with preheating a sauté pan over medium-high heat and melt some butter. I will then begin to caramelize my leeks. Now that the leeks are about halfway cooked, I will add some crushed garlic. Continue to saute for a few more minutes until the leeks are completely cooked and are soft. Now that the leeks are cooked, I want to deglaze with dry white wine. Okay, now that it's simmering, I will add my dry fruit. I will add my herbs. I want to add Ras El Hanout. It is a Moroccan spice that's going to pair very well with the fruits and the pork. Let's go ahead and give this a stir. Now I'd like to add Marcona Almonds. Season with a little bit of kosher salt. Let's stir this together, remove it from the heat, and allow it to sit and allow the liquids to be absorbed by the dried fruit. Well, as you see, the pork tenderloin, sometimes you have nice little fatter, more symmetrical ones like this. Those are always the ones we love working with. And then you have one that's typically a little skinnier. So I'm going to show you two different ways to stuff these. And let's work with the easy one first. Okay, so this one, what I like to do, I'll trim that little piece off. We're going to cut this. I like to start off the edge here, maybe in a ½ inch or so, and then make a nice gentle cut down. You don't want to cut all the way through the pork. And then as you're gently slicing this, nice long strokes, go ahead and peel back the tenderloin. And there you have. On the next one, because it's so much thinner, we're gonna have to do some work to this. We could do it this way, which may or may not be easier for it, I'm not certain. But what we're gonna do is, we're gonna straighten out the loin, and we're gonna take our knife and then gently slide it down through the entire length of the tenderloin. You could use a knife, or you could actually use a steel. Sanitize a steel and put it down through there. That way, when you're using something this small, you don't accidentally cut through the sides. So, I'll use the knife and gently keep the knife level and just gently go through. And there we go. We should have a nice hole coming all the way through the center of the pork. Now this little skinny piece here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that over like that. That way it keeps the shape of the pork loin and kind of more uniform, so it cooks all the same. This side won't be overcooked and the rest of it be undercooked. Well, now we have our pork prepped. Let's go ahead and season it. You notice I have it on a piece of plastic wrap. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna use the plastic wrap to help roll it. Because after we stuff it and roll it, I plan to put it in the freezer for about an hour. I'm looking to just get it to set so I can wrap it with caul fat. So now we have our salt on there. Let's go ahead and brush some mustard inside. This is a mustard that I made. It is made orange and white Zinfandel. Spread it out evenly. And let's go ahead and stuff our tenderloin. Got to be careful not to overstuff it. I have that problem many times just because the stuffing has so much flavor, and well, I guess I get a little excited with it. So now that we have our stuffing there, let's go ahead and begin rolling. If you notice, I did not take the stuffing all the way to the edge. That's because when I roll it, I want the pork to actually touch the other side of the tenderloin when it gets all the way rolled. What'll happen is as you cook it, the proteins are gonna touch and they'll bind together. So we twist the ends here, got it nice. We're completely covered the pork all the way around. Now we're off to the freezer for about 1 hour. Well, here we are. The pork came from the freezer and it's firm enough to where it's not going to separate and come on you. And here we have our caul fat. This part is optional. I like to wrap it with caul fat simply because it gives a nice presentation to it. It also it gives a more flavor as well. And caul fat is, as you see, it's sometimes called lace fat because of the look, how it looks like lace. Now, this is a fatty membrane, if you will, that surrounds the vital organs on many animals. So now it's just simply take your pork tenderloin. We'll go ahead and wrap it. Let us trim the ends on it. Now we are ready to put it on a sheet pan and roast it, or you could do it in a saute pan and sear it. The choice is up to you. And because this is par frozen, you see how it sticks to it? And keep in mind that when you sear this, it's going to shrink on you. So that's why I actually prefer roasting it on something like this. So we will wrap the other piece. Well, out of the oven, we had rested the meat for about 10 minutes. And you see how we got the nice filling in there. Everything's nice and neat. The meat connected on the sides. And when wrapping with the caul fat, adds nice color to it. Well, there you have my stuffed pork tenderloin. This time we went in a sweet direction. But as I mentioned before, there are many ways you can go with it. I recommend for this dish is maybe a Robert sauce, which is a classical sauce. It's a demi-glace with whole grain mustard. Would go fantastic with this. Maybe even something with mushrooms or truffle. This is one of our go-to dishes when it comes to holidays and get-togethers as well. It's not difficult to make, and you can feed, a sizable amount of people with just one piece of meat. Obviously, you could substitute the pork tenderloin with a regular pork loin and feed that much more people. Now, a tip from me is if you're using the pork loin, I recommend brining it for 24 hours prior to doing the procedure that you just did, just to help get a little more flavor inside, and you know, and also helps cook a little faster and tenderize the protein itself. The pork loin will not be as tender as the tenderloin. Well, thank you very much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. Hope it also gave you some other ideas for your pork tenderloin. If you like the content in which we're putting out, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Thanks again for joining. Yo et Fayette.